Imagine sitting at a dinner table that isn't yours, watching a family argue about who forgot to bring the pie, and feeling a strange ache because you used to have that and you gave it up. You told them you were busy this year, again, and they stopped asking why. That silence, that's the part no one prepares you for. We live in a culture that sells us a story: family is forever, no matter what. It's painted as the ultimate safety net, the one group that has to love you. So when someone walks away from that net, society doesn't see a survivor, it sees a traitor. It's easier to label them as cold, as dramatic, as the one who gave up, than it is to question the foundation of the family itself. But here's the thing about people who make this choice. They didn't give up on a Tuesday because they were annoyed. They gave up after a decade of Tuesdays. Think about the person who spent every birthday calling a parent who never called them back, or the one who went home for the holidays and felt more alone in a crowded living room than they do in their empty apartment. They kept showing up, not because they were happy, but because hope is a stubborn thing. It's the voice that whispers, maybe this year will be different, until one year the whisper finally stops, and the silence that follows is deafening. And that's when the real grief begins. Not the grief of losing the person, but the grief of finally admitting the person you needed never really existed. Sociologists have spent years studying this exact dynamic. Research consistently points to a pattern that shatters the stereotype of the impulsive estrangement. It's rarely a blow-up, it's a slow burn. It's the accumulation of thousands of small moments where you felt unseen, unheard, or unsafe. People didn't leave because of one big thing. They left because they got tired of carrying all the little things. They finally realized the cost of admission to the family was their own sense of self. And that cost, it's not paid in one lump sum. It's a monthly subscription you didn't sign up for. The decision to leave isn't a lack of love. It's the recognition that love alone isn't enough. So what does that aftermath actually feel like? It's not just relief, though that's part of it. It's a confusing cocktail of emotions. You're free, but you're mourning. You're finally breathing, but the air feels thinner. You might find yourself envying friends who complain about their annoying parents, because at least they have parents to complain about. And then there's the guilt. The endless loop of, what if I had just tried harder? That guilt is a powerful thing. It's also a liar. It tries to convince you that your suffering was your fault. But here's what researchers actually find. People who make this decision don't do it lightly. They carry the weight of the relationship for years, often decades, before setting it down. The guilt you feel isn't a sign you were wrong. It's a sign you had a heart capable of loving, and it got broken. You can only knock on a closed door for so long before your hand learns it's pointless. And what about the people who don't feel the guilt? The ones who walk away and feel nothing? That's not a sign of a cold person either. It's often a sign of someone who processed their grief while still inside the relationship. They mourned the loss of the parent, sibling, or family they wished they had, years before they actually left. By the time they walked out the door, there was nothing left to mourn but the idea of what could have been. That's not emptiness. That's a fire that burned out because there was nothing left to fuel it. This is the part we rarely talk about. Sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do is leave. Because staying in a relationship built on obligation and performance isn't love. It's a hostage situation where everyone is holding everyone else emotionally hostage. It breeds resentment. It breeds bitterness. It breeds a version of yourself that you don't recognize in the mirror. By leaving, you're not just saving yourself. You're also refusing to participate in a system that wasn't working for anyone. You're drawing a line and saying, this dynamic ends with me. And sometimes, years later, you realize something profound. The silence you were so afraid of, it becomes a space where you can finally hear your own thoughts. The holidays you used to dread, you get to build new traditions, ones not stained by old pain. The energy you spent managing other people's emotions, you get to pour it back into yourself. It's not that you don't miss them, it's that you finally understand that missing them is easier than losing yourself. If this video landed with you, if it made you feel a little less alone in a decision you made or are thinking about making, please take a second to hit that like button. It helps more people find these stories and reminds them they're not the only ones. And if you want to go deeper into the psychology of why we are the way we are, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thanks for watching.